hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie, and I have 6 new winter Dollar Tree DIYs for you and a few finds from Target clearance. So, let's get started with today's video. The first DIY that we're going to make, I wanted to do some kind of a snowflake sign. And so this is actually a thrift sign. I got this half price at Goodwill, so it was like $1.50. I like to get like good heavy wood signs there. You can get them almost as cheap as the Dollar Tree, but you know, you're gonna have like a real wood heavy duty sign. But you could always do this DIY on a Dollar Tree sign or something that you have. I'm going over the whole thing in white. I used a little bit too much paint, but I'm trying to smooth that out. Basically, I want to cover up all that white writing that was already on our sign. The signs on this were painted like a distressed white, so they're perfect. I just kind of need to get rid of that to give me a blank canvas. And now I'm going to go in and paint it. I'm going to mix my own color. This is Caribbean blue mixed with white. I wanted like a real light, icy looking blue that'd be good for winter, but it's also going to go great with my coastal decor in my house. So we're just going to paint this sign all over with that pretty blue color. I'm not going to paint the sides. I'm going to leave the sides white. I kind of like the two-tone, and I like that they're kind of like roughed up a little bit and a little bit rustic. And I'm kind of, you know, letting a little bit of that white show through just to kind of add a little bit of distress on the sign, so it'll kind of look coastal without having to go back and distress it. And this is what it looks like at this point. Now I wanted to use some of this Dollar Tree rope. This is the skinnier, the 11-foot white rope. And one package is plenty for this DIY. And I wanted to make a rope snowflake. I've never tried that before, but I thought it would probably be pretty easy with this width of rope. So I'm going to give it my best go. It doesn't turn out perfect, but you know, every snowflake is different, right? So I cut a piece to size just to go all the way down the middle, and I'm just attaching that to our sign with hot glue. And I used my ruler so I could kind of find, you know, the center of the sign. And I want to make this like a 6-sided snowflake. And so I want to have like, you know, little snowflake rays going out in every direction. I used my ruler again to kind of find the halfway point of that rope that I put down originally so I would know where to go. I kind of wish I would have angled these two on this side a little bit more towards each other, because in the end, they're not quite the same distance. I guess maybe we need to use a little bit more mathematical tools here. What is that called? Like a protractor? And so I just cut 4 pieces all about the same size, and I have those going out in all the different directions. Now I wanted it to look like a snowflake that has like the little, you know, rays coming off of it. I was trying to determine if I could fit 2 on each one, and I can. The only problem is that I kind of, you know, put the 3 on the bottom and the 3 on the top a little close to each other, so it does get a little bit crowded, but I just kind of cut them short and made it work. You kind of have to be careful though, because if you cut the little pieces of rope too small, they'll start to unwind. And if that happens, you can always kind of glue it back to each other. But I'm trying not to mess with them too much before I just glue them down. And so you can see the little pattern that I'm doing here. Kind of like a double arrow pattern there on my snowflake. And then I want to go ahead and do that with the other 5 parts of our snowflake. This DIY was so easy to put together, and it looks like so high-end. It looks so expensive, the final product. And I just made it for a couple of dollars. So this is where I started noticing that I was a little crowded down here. So that's when I started cutting some smaller pieces to make it fit. And that's what I mean by gluing the pieces together if they start to unwind a little bit. Because you can only cut this so short without it unwinding a little bit. But I needed them to be a little bit shorter so that we could get them to fit. And then we're just going to go ahead and do the other side here on the bottom. I thought about adding 2 more rays to this and making it like an 8-sided, since I was kind of off on my measurements on the sides, but then I decided that would be even more crowded, so we're just going to leave this like a 6-sided snowflake. So that's where we are so far, and then I'm just going to keep doing the same thing. I'm going to do the same thing here on the top. Kind of starting in the middle that time, so I kind of had a little bit more room to work with that, and then doing the 2 on the sides. And this is basically all we're going to do for this DIY. I don't think it needs any kind of more decor. You could always add like a seashell or something to yours. I thought about adding like a sand dollar to the middle, but I kind of liked it as is, so I kind of left it alone at this point. But this is a great sign because it's really heavy duty, so I can like use it as a shelf sitter to sit on my shelf, or I can hang it on the wall, no problems. All right, just finishing that up. Basically lots of cutting and lots of hot gluing down, and you have a little rope snowflake. I think it's so cute. I love doing anything I can with Dollar Tree rope. I think it always looks really nice and coastal, and I think this looks great for winter. That's kind of how it would look if I would have added like another row to it. I contemplated it. It would have looked good, but I decided against it. So this is our final product, a little 6-sided rope snowflake. And this is how it looks in my house. I've made a couple other winter DIY videos, and all these complement those really nicely. Okay, next DIY, I wanted to make just a really fun winter sign. So I'm going to use 2 of these plain wood hanging signs from the Dollar Tree to kind of make a bigger sign. Whenever you piece the Dollar Tree signs together, you can always make a more substantial piece. And I love the fact that these are like raw wood and I can do anything to them. Super easy to paint. The only thing I don't like about them is they're that Dollar Tree thin still. And you got to be really careful that they're not too bowed. I'm going to do the open holes, 1 on each end, to kind of make them look like boards. And I kind of want this to look like like a pallet sign. And so to do that, I'm just going to use some craft sticks, some popsicle sticks from the Dollar Tree. And leaving a little space in between, I'm going to sandwich these together with popsicle sticks, just attaching the popsicle sticks with hot glue to the back. And it was a little bowed, so I'm going to go ahead and use 5 to try to fix that problem and get it as straight as I can. And we have a really inexpensive little sign here that we can decorate. Now I wanted to do this like a beachy blue too, but I'm going to kind of mix it up. This time we're going to do turquoise and white together, just kind of mixing my own custom color. I added a little bit more because I wanted it to be a little bit lighter, but I wanted to do a fun winter sign where I could do like a snowman sign, but I could do something really fun and wintry at the same time. So we're going all over with that custom blue color. Don't be afraid to mix your colors of paint. If you don't have the shade that you're looking for, you can probably get to it with what you have, just trying to remember like your color wheel and stuff like that. I am going to go ahead and try to paint those popsicle sticks that are kind of shining through as well, but just a nice sloppy coat all over. And I'm also going to go around the edges in case that you can see them. And this was kind of bowed. I did finally get it kind of straightened out after I worked with it enough and painting it and drying it and heating it. And I did finally get it to straighten out a little bit. So this is what we've got. I have this image that I got on Canva of a cute little snowman, and all I did was print that out on my printer. I'm not sure if I will be able to share it with you on Canva because I'm not sure. I will try. If I can't, I will share it as part of our Facebook group. And I always have the link for that below as well if you would like to print this out yourself. It's a really cute little snowman, and I love his little blue hat. I thought about doing the print and cut on my Cricut, but for some reason, like the sensor on my Cricut never can see the little lines around the edges that it needs to see to cut stuff out. And it's sometimes just easier to cut it out myself. So I just cut it out. The only thing that was tricky on that was cutting out the little arms because I wanted to make sure that I didn't cut it off. Then I'm also going to cut him in half because of the hole in the board. I don't want that like image to cover it. I want it to kind of be pieced together like that. And now we can just glue it down. I'm just using some matte Mod Podge from the Dollar Tree and gluing our snowman over here on one side. And you know, they don't have a lot of winter stuff available at the Dollar Tree right now. So sometimes when you print your own stuff like this, you can do your own little custom take on winter DIYs. I'm going to be starting Valentine's Day soon, but in between Christmas and Valentine's Day, I definitely wanted to decorate my house for winter. So I just sealed over the top with one layer and dried that, but I'm also going to Mod Podge the entire sign just because I don't want it to be like a different finish over where the snowman is. I want it to be all the same finish all over. So I'm just sealing all of the paint and the image with another coat of Mod Podge. And that makes it look less like you just put glue like on one side of the sign. It just evens it all out. Now, I'm going to try my best trying to find a white paint pen that works. I am really hard on white paint pens. I must use them way too much. I'm using a Sharpie one, and this is a water-based, and so it wasn't great. I need to get more of the oil-based ones. I get these at Target, and I like them, but this water-based one just did not, as you can see, it's working, but it kind of like, when you dry it, it kind of fades. And so I do have to go over it with a couple of coats and really try to thicken those lines so that you can read that. If you're not confident in your handwriting, you could always use stickers from the Dollar Tree or your Cricut to make a stencil, or you could use Cricut vinyl for the letters. But mine is going to say not made for winter because that is me. Definitely not made for winter. And I'm just doing winter in like a kind of a cursive font. Not made for. I tried to do like a Ray Dunn font. It's pretty easy to do a Ray Dunn font. Sometimes it's easier to do that than to make a stencil in your Cricut. Now to decorate it some more, I'm going to use some of these glitter snowflake stickers from the Dollar Tree. I love these. I'm going to do one for like the little dot of winter. And then I'm just going to do like different sizes all over just to kind of make look like it is snowing on our little snowman sign. And this was just a fun sign. I wanted something fun for winter. And I saw the saying somewhere and I was like, oh yeah, that is totally me. I can't stand the cold, and it's actually cold in Florida right now. When I went out to work earlier, it was in the 40s and I was freezing, but I'm sure a lot of you are a lot more cold than we were here with our 30s here in Florida. But we don't like it. So now I'm using white and a chunky brush from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just distressing all over. I just wanted to give it that beachy vibe, and I like to distress that printable image a little bit to make it look a little bit, you know, more hand painted. If I get too much on there, I just go over it with a baby wipe and kind of take off the distress. Trying not to take off the words, though, in the process. And I just kind of distress it, working in one direction until I am happy with it. And we have a nice beachy little winter sign. Now for a hanger on the back, it's a pretty lightweight sign, so I think twine's going to be fine. So I'm just going to use some Dollar Tree twine and hot glue, and we're just going to make a really easy rope hanger on the back that won't be visible for the front. And I think it's going to be plenty strong to hold up this sign because it's just the two thin boards. And there it is, our not made for winter sign. I think it's so cute. What do you think about this one? And here's how it turned out in my house. I think it's a nice beachy sign and a fun whimsical sign for winter. Okay, are you ready for another DIY? I wanted to make like a wood stick tree. I like to use like trees after Christmas, you know, as long as you use the right colors, you know, it's going to go great with your winter decor as long as you're not putting ornaments on them or you don't really have any red. And so I'm using just a foam cone from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cover it in masking tape. The reason I'm covering it in masking tape is because I'm going to be using a lot of hot glue on this DIY. And anytime I'm going to hot glue to that foam, it's going to melt and sizzle. And if you put the masking tape down, you can glue it to that, and you're not going to have quite that chemical and heat reaction on that. So that's what I did. And then I just wanted to use some of these wood stems from the Dollar Tree. And I wanted to make like a wood stem Christmas tree. I've never seen anybody do one of these, and I thought it would be really cute. So I'm going to start out here on the bottom and just start gluing a twig down. As you can see, there's many different shapes and sizes of those twigs, but usually when they put the wood stems together, they give you like kind of like sizes and lengths together in one bag. And I did have one bag of like really skinny that had opened there, but I'm going to kind of, piece it together. I'm trying to use like different colors, shapes, and sizes as I glue these all the way around. And I want to kind of build this like I have built like the driftwood tree and stuff like that in the past, where, I do a row like this and then I'm going to overlap. Now, I did kind of struggle having enough to cover it with that one bag of skinny ones, but I did have a few more skinny ones that I was able to work it in. But I love these. I've been stockpiling these because I'm not used to my Dollar Tree carrying these, and they've been having them a lot lately, and I haven't really made a lot of stuff with them yet. So I was excited to use them for this project. And this is a little bit like driftwood as well, where you're kind of putting it together like a puzzle, trying to find out which piece would fit. And this is how my first row looks, and it's okay that some of them are longer than the others, because then we're going to go back and start overlapping with this layer. Just overlapping a little bit. So to do that, I'm just doing like a dot of hot glue on the cone and a dot of hot glue where I think it's going to go on the next row. And then I'm just going to keep building, trying to keep like in a row, but it definitely doesn't have to be even. I kind of like the imperfect look of this. And if you have little gaps like that, you can always fill it in with little tiny pieces like that, or little broken pieces. And just keep working our way around. And you can see that I'm trying to mix it up a little bit, like different depths, different colors of the wood when I can. And it's just going to make it look more, more fun. So some of the pieces are like curved. Those don't work very well. I kind of really wanted to go with just the straight ones. And there is our second layer. I'm trying to find the perfect piece to fill in the last gap. And that's what it looks like at this point. Out of all of my DIYs today, this one definitely took the longest. But man, it turned out so nice and beautiful and so high end. I can't believe I made it with just a couple of dollars. Basically, I made it with one bag of these wood stems from the Dollar Tree and one of those wood cones. So like I spent like maybe $2.50. And so what a great deal, because this would have cost so much more if you were to buy this in a home decor store. Now I'm working on my third row. If you start going, kind of sideways, you can kind of straighten it out, kind of put a smaller piece in between to kind of fill the gap, because I really don't want any of the cone to be visible. So if I can fill in the holes the best I can, I definitely do. And just finishing up this row, I basically want to cover up all of the tape that you can see, all of the foam. And so we can go up to a point. So just starting another row, it's going to start getting easier here because there's less to go around. But again, trying to fill up any gaps and providing a nice little overlap there as we build. I would like to take this moment to thank you so much for watching today's video. If you wouldn't mind, I would love it if you hit the like button. It definitely helps my YouTube algorithm. And after you're done watching, be sure to comment your favorite DIY below, or just reach out to say hello, because all those YouTube things are always going to help our channel here at Crafty Beach. And I'm trying to get to 11,000 subscribers, and we are so, so close by the end of the year. So if you haven't subscribed, over half of you guys are not subscribed. Please do it, because it does help you find my videos, and it helps me here on YouTube as well. I know I put in, I sent out an SOS the other day that YouTube was really not showing my content very much, and they did send me a message about that, saying less people were clicking on my videos, and when they were clicking on my videos, they weren't watching them as long. So I would really appreciate your support, because if YouTube is not recommending my content, to people, then people aren't going to see it and it's really going to hurt the channel. So I would appreciate any views that I could get from you, and I always appreciate all of your support. So as you can see, we've built all the way up to the top of the tree, but I still have like the top part. So I thought I would use just like one of the bigger diameter pieces of wood, kind of glue that to the top because it doesn't go all the way to a point. And that's going to kind of give me a point where I can glue pieces to go from what I have and connect it to that top part. Just trying to finish it off the best that I can. And I just have a little bit left here to cover. And I was kind of running out of pieces at this point, but we did it. We made it all the way here to the end. And so I think it looks really cute like this, and this would look really cute rustic and stuff. But I am going to paint it to make it look even more wintry. I am just trying to get all the strings of hot glue off of there with my heat gun. And this is what our great little wood stem tree looks like at this point. This would be a great Christmas decoration as well, but I love the fact that you could leave it out all winter. Now I'm using a chunky brush and just some white acrylic, and you can see I'm just kind of making it look like there's a little bit of snow, just a little dusting of snow all over, kind of where snow would accumulate on this tree. And this is going to give it that wintry vibe that I'm really wanting to go with for my winter decor. And I'm just going to keep doing that all the way to the bottom. This also brightens it up quite a bit too, because a lot of that wood was kind of a darker brown. But it definitely added a lot more character to the piece. And that's basically all we're going to do to it. We're not going to decorate it in any way. We're just going to leave this as this nice rustic wood stem tree with a little bit of snow all over. And this is how it looked. Isn't it beautiful? I really like this piece, and so did my family. And this is how our little tree looks in our house. I'm going to pair it together with some other rustic looking Christmas trees, and we'll have some fun winter decor. Okay, the next DIY, I wanted to make a fun like decor piece, but also a fun piece. So I'm going to use one of these jars from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to make kind of a snow globe. It's going to be a waterless snow globe, something really easy, but I like the size of this jar. I think it's really pretty. It's got a really pretty silver lid, so I'm just making sure that I get the tag off the bottom, and then we can start building this super easy snow globe. This was so easy to put together, and it turned out so cute, and it's really fun because it's a decor piece that you can play with and not mess it up at all. And so I wanted to decorate inside, so I'm going to use a couple of these little white bottle brush trees that I have left over from Christmas from the Dollar Tree, and one of these little wood snowmen. It's just the right size. I got that at the Target Dollar Spot in a 2-pack with another snowman that I used for a previous DIY. And it's just raw wood, so we're going to paint it. I'm just going to use some white acrylic to paint the snowman part white. I really liked these, but all the ones that I've used from the Target Dollar Spot, I've like just kind of painted them. So I kind of wish they would have actually painted them instead of just leaving them natural wood, because I just couldn't really find a use for them in their natural state. But I guess they'd be pretty stained and stuff too. But I want this to look like a white snowman, just traditional. So I'm also going to use black for his hat. So just using some little brushes from the Dollar Tree and some black acrylic, we're just going to go in and paint his hat black as carefully as I can, trying not to get any on him. But of course I did. So I'm just going to wipe that off. Now he doesn't really have a carrot nose. He kind of has just a ball for a nose. And I'm going to kind of keep him simple like he is. But I do want his nose to be orange. Even though it's not a carrot, I'm just going to paint that like pumpkin orange color, just to kind of make it look more traditional. I'm not going to do buttons or eyes or anything like that. I'm just going to leave it like that. I think that's going to be fine. And now we just need to attach our little Christmas trees and our snowman to the bottom of this, because we're going to have it upside down to make like a giant snow globe. So I'm just trying to figure out how I want to arrange it. I think it looks cute like this, with like a snowman over on the side and the two trees kind of together. And so I'm just going to attach that to our lid with hot glue. And I was looking for a jar to do this. I think this one is definitely the perfect size I was looking for. And this is how it looks when they are hot glued down. Now, I need to fill the jar with snow. So that's the next step. I'm going to use some of this faux snow. It's like the little styrofoam ball snow. Definitely messy. Almost every bag at the Dollar Tree had a hole in the bag, I noticed. So you might have to pick some of these up. But I used a half a bag, dumped it in there, and then I'm going to see if that's enough by screwing the lid back on. You don't want to put too much in there for sure. You want to be able to see the snowman in the trees. And that was the perfect amount of snow. It covers up the bases of everything. It's nice and fun to play with. And it actually doesn't get stuck in the bottle brush trees. I was worried about that, like when you shake it. Now to finish off the top, I thought it would be fun to do like a snowball on top. And I got these little snowballs at the Dollar Tree. But you could use any kind of white pom-pom or any kind of white fluffy ball like this for the top. Or even a wood bead would be cute too. And I'm just going to secure the little snowball to the top just to kind of cover up the number and stuff that was on the top of the jar and make it look a little bit more finished. And there it is, our super easy snowman snow globe, waterless snow globe, I guess. And it's really fun because it's a cute little winter decor piece. And you can leave it out all winter long and you can play with it as well. And that's how it looked on my shelf. Hey guys, I have a private Facebook group. I would love to have you. I'd also love it if you'd come follow my Facebook page. I am also on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest, and my handle is Crafty Beach on YouTube. And I would love to see you at any and all of those. I'm pretty active on all of them. Okay, our next DIY, I'm going to use one of these little plastic snowflake ornaments from the Dollar Tree and one of these great new signs I found at the Crafter Square in Dollar Tree. Isn't it cute? It's like a wood plank circle. It's got a frame and a wood bead hanger. It's so cute. I love it. It's such an easy DIY. And look how perfectly the snowflake fits on there. If you don't have any of these plastic ones left over, you can't find them, you could always use the wood snowflakes as well, but this one was the perfect size. I'm going to kind of do a turquoise and white on this one. And I really thought this ornament looked like coral. So I thought if we painted it, we could make it really look like coral. And it kind of looks more like coral than the coral ornaments that I made. It really does. This takes away all the plastic shine, and I'm using a brush so I can make sure to get down in all the different individual parts of the snowflake, and it takes away all the glitter shine as well. That acrylic paint really covered it up, and I just mixed turquoise and white together for that color. I think this turned out so pretty, and this is going to be such an easy winter decor piece. I'm going to go ahead and fill the hole where the hanger was with hot glue and kind of touch that up with paint. Because I didn't really think about that. I don't really want it to have a hole in it. I think that would be kind of obvious. And so now that it's all painted and filled in, we can attach it to our sign. I love these signs. I picked up a couple of these at one of my bigger Dollar Trees that I was at the other day. I was really tickled to find them. And I'm just going to use some hot glue to attach our little snowflake. You could always put like a wood block behind it, kind of make it look more 3D if you wanted. But I'm going to kind of just glue it flat to the piece like that. And it's looking super cute as is. I did want to add like just a little something to it though. So I am going to add a bow, and I'm going to make that out of some of this ribbon that I get at Dollar Tree. I would love working with this. I always think it looks like a little bit like fishing net. So I think it always goes great with my coastal projects. And even though this isn't a coastal project, it's just a snowflake, I think it really looks coastal. Now they have like an odd number of beads at the top. So I'm going to kind of tie it off to the side here, just using a piece of twine and tying it on the string they already have on there. And it's just going to provide a super easy little bow. Now I was trying to arrange it on there a little bit. I thought it was a little bit too long. So you can always shorten it. You can't make it longer, right? So I do go in and trim this up just a little bit shorter. And then I wanted to finish it off with one more thing. And I decided one of these little seashells. These come in the little bottles from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to glue a seashell there. And that's going to kind of substitute for a bead to make it have an even number of beads so that I can hang that kind of evenly on a nail. I like to have an even number of wood beads on there. I think it makes it hang easier. And it's kind of attached to the back, so you kind of have to take it apart to take a bead off of it. But this is how it turned out, our little coral coastal snowflake sign. I think it's so pretty, and this is how it turned out. You can see that like beautiful texture on that cheap ornament. It looks really high-end. Okay, this DIY, I wanted to make another tree, another winter tree, and I'm going to use 2 of these little microfiber mop heads from the Dollar Tree and a party hat. I like to use these party hats from the Dollar Tree because I find they're pretty readily available to make trees. You can always do it out of cardboard and make your own shape. I'm just going to try to get all of this tinsel stuff off of it first, so kind of get it out of my way. And I'm going to kind of use this as is. If you wanted a skinnier, taller tree, you could take it apart and wind it tighter and glue it to itself, and you could have a skinnier tree, but I'm kind of going with a kind of a fat, chunky tree on this. I'm not going to use the whole thing, but I'm going to use most of it for this DIY. I'm just going to cover it with this microfiber mop head. I thought we could make, I've been seeing like the white fuzzy Christmas trees, and I thought I could definitely make something like that with these mop heads for sure. I don't normally like cutting them too much, but I think we can use most of them intact. So I'm going to kind of do it like this, wind it around by doing it straight at the top, like that. I'm going to glue straight up and down the piece sideways, trying to make sure that I cover the very tip because I don't want any of that color showing through from the party hat, and wrap it all the way around like this. On this piece, I'm going to go ahead and put some hot glue on the hat and the mop head and pull it around in a spiral. You can always kind of push on the inside of your party hat as well, but be careful that it's really hot even through the party hat. So we got our first one attached. That's what it looks like at this point. It looks kind of crazy, but we're going to fill the rest of that in. Well, most of it with our second little mop head. This DIY was definitely easy to put together, and it looks so cute. So I'm just going to start where I stopped with the next mop head like that, and I'm going to continue this spiral pattern all the way around. Now, I just measured to see how long it was going to need to be because I want all of it to be covered with fluff. And this is about as tall as I can make it. So I'm just going to cut it as size. And I'm using the part of the hat that I'm cutting away as kind of a stencil of how to cut that, because you do kind of have to cut it, you know, at an arc. And I'm going to keep doing that all the way around. And I'm going to do this before I put our second mop head on there. I think it's going to be easier to cut kind of one mop head at a time here. I'm going to switch to my sharp fabric scissors so I can cut through all that fluff that I'd already glued down to that part of the hat. And now we just have a shorter hat. The reason I cut it at that point is so I would know exactly how big I could make it. And now we can start where we stopped, and we're going to start one mop head, just pair it up where the other one stopped. They are kind of rounded on the edges, so you kind of have to work in that little area to make sure that it's all fluffed up and you can't see any of that party hat behind it. And then we're going to continue gluing this down in a spiral pattern around our tree, making sure that's secure. You can always push inside the hat and all the way down here until we do our final little corner of the hat. We will have some excess fabric here. And you can kind of see at this point where I got the height. That's how far it is going down there on the shorter side of the mop head. And just trying to make sure that final piece is glued and secure. And then all we have to do is cut off the excess fabric. So not too much cutting of this fabric because it does kind of like to shed and make a mess when you cut it. So I'm just trying to cut it in one strip there with my fabric scissors. Try not to make too much of a mess, but be prepared. It will shed a little bit down there at the bottom. And just trimming that off. You're also going to need to kind of fluff it up there at the bottom kind of see any pieces that need to be trimmed off, but you can kind of use some of it to fill in any gaps as well. As you saw me just gluing some back up in there, but just trimming off any longer pieces that might be obvious. And this is just a really easy, fluffy white tree, perfect for winter. And I'm just fluffing it out, making sure that all of it's covered and it looks really nice. And I'm not going to decorate or anything like that. I just want a nice white snowy tree. I think I'm going to display this with some of those little white deer from the Dollar Tree. I think it's going to be really pretty together for winter. You could always put it on a skewer or dowel and make it like a standing one, but I'm just going to have it straight on my table like this, just a white fluffy Christmas tree. Now, you guys saw at Target, they had all their Christmas stuff 50% off, and I was able to order a bunch of it online. So if your store is wiped out, definitely check online. I got this great light blue fuzzy deer there, half price. So I think it was normally $3, so it was $1.50, and it's a really nice size. I thought this would make a really pretty winter decor. It's definitely not Christmassy. And then I got one of these little flocked trees from the Target Dollar Spot as well. And I thought these would look really nice together. This is a pretty tall tree, and the deer is pretty big as well. And I thought I would just pair them together like this, just for some fun, easy winter decor. Hey guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and don't forget to comment below. I appreciate you so much. Are you ready for the final reveal? Here we go.
It's an early December morning. No one but we are. We look out the window as it's starting to snow, and I realize as you hand me